在我们的眼中，这个蓝色的星球已经存在了46亿年。如果把时间压缩，用1年代表5000万年，那么地球的寿命是92岁，而作为现代意义的人类，仅仅出生了8小时。就在短短的5分钟以前，人类世界爆发了轰轰烈烈的工业革命。然而，就是在这看似微不足道的5分钟里，地球似乎已经变得不堪重负，气喘吁吁。就在最后的5分钟里，这个养育了亿万生物的星球上，究竟发生了一些什么呢
？I can still remember that when I woke up and opened my sleepy eyes, my face was bathed in the sunshine that we were all longing for. The carriage driver turned to me and mumbled, "We are almost there." I then realized that this must be Nottingham, where my new home would be. After my older sister died of typhoid and our crops failed completely due to the incessant rains, my parents decided to send me here to stay with a distant relative of ours. My name is James, and I was only 5 years old when I left home to be in this strange place for the first time in my life. The fear and hopelessness of being separated from my mother seemed to have drifted out of my mind, and I began to examine, with curiosity, the surroundings of this new place.
18世纪中期的英格兰，欧洲西部的一个宁静岛屿。100年前的光荣革命，卸下了君主手中的权力，更多的自由降临到了贵族、商人、冒险家，甚至平民的身上。10多年前结束的海外战争，让这个小岛拥有了从美洲到印度的广阔原野。天然优质的牧场和耕地，为英格兰也为世界提供着丰富的小麦和羊毛制品。跨越太平洋和大西洋的通畅航线，则把本土丰富的物产源源不断地销往一个个遥远的陌生大陆，为帝国换来丰厚的利润。后来的人们把这一段时间称作快乐的英格兰。然而，正像任何一个农业国度都会面临的自然法则一样，气候的冷暖变化依然决定着国民的命运走向。多数人还察觉不到，一次即将发生的巨变正在这个宁静的岛屿上酝酿。一个崭新的文明正从这里开始悄悄降临人间。
For the first time in my life as a 6-year-old boy, I had a satisfying meal, took a shower, and put on a brand new woolen suit. I found it puzzling that Uncle Thomas and his family did not own land, yet they were living a luxurious life. The secret was revealed to me the next day as soon as I saw those looms. Using those looms, the women in Uncle Thomas's family turned wool into yarn and thread, while the men turned the thread into woolen cloth. Uncle Thomas told me, with tremendous pride, that the Archbishop's woolen cushions came from Nottingham, most likely from the Thomas family, as a matter of fact. During the summer of my 13th birthday, a viscount in our county bought out the looms from many families, including Uncle Thomas's family, and put them in a huge factory workshop. At the end of the day, the small storage space was filled to its brim with what we produced that day. The daily toiling was exceedingly exhausting, yet we got no raises for our daily wages. On the average, we were actually making less than before. Old Uncle Thomas was very unhappy and became increasingly quiet and withdrawn. The tense and explosive atmosphere finally erupted into a factory-wide strike, with workers wanting to seize back their looms. Old Uncle Thomas was injured during the chaotic upheaval, and sadly, he passed away a week later. Uncle Thomas's family was poverty-stricken, suffering from hunger and despair throughout the winter that year.
在18世纪中叶的英格兰，英国传统的毛纺织业也面临着一个寒冷的冬天。印度生产的棉纺织品价廉物美，热销一时。新兴的棉纺织业迅速在英国繁荣起来。更重要的是，在棉纺织行业中诞生的新技术，开启了整个社会的变革。1768年，一个名叫理查德·阿克莱特的精明商人，发明出用水力驱动的纺纱机。于是，在英格兰许多人迹罕至但水源充沛的峡谷里，出现了许多壮观的大磨坊工厂。这种形式的工厂开始使用不知疲惫的自然力量来转动机器。短短几年时间里，新式水力纺纱机迅速取代了传统的手摇纺车。新兴的纺织技术使得纺织业的产量和质量都得到大大提升。棉纺织品不但价格便宜，同时具有毛织物的保暖性和丝织物的柔软性，还有麻织物的透气性，既可到炎热的赤道地区倾销，又能到寒冷的西伯利亚兜售，成为任何时候都能畅销全球的产品。为此，人们纷纷扩大这种广受欢迎的白色商品的生产。一场更为深刻的革命就将在它的生产线上诞生。
A year later, the Viscount closed his woolen mill and left Nottingham. People grabbed the mill's equipment and everything disappeared instantly. In a small room inside the mill, I discovered an old and tattered little book. That whole afternoon I stayed in a corner of the empty mill, labouring through that little book till after sunset, with an empty stomach. The little book was less than 40 pages in length and was titled The New Atlantic Island. On their way from Peru to Japan, a group of sailing adventurers discovered a new land, completely unknown to the outside world. The island was governed by scientists, and its ruler was not a royal descendant, but an organization called the Solomon Institute. The palace of the Solomon Institute was filled with alarmingly dazzling and intricate apparatus. Through particular techniques, the scientists were able to eliminate diseases, to prolong life forever, to enrich the soil, to produce bountiful foods, and to come up with all kinds of scientific inventions to make people's lives rich and highly civilized.
1624年，时值暮年被逐出宫廷的培根，把自己一生的科学追求和理想写成了这部名为《新大西岛》的书。培根最后以所罗门学院院长对欧洲人民的演讲作为结局。我们这个机构的目的是了解事物的生成原因及运动的秘密，扩展人类帝国的边界，实现一切可能实现之事。这样的声音发出在科学精神伊始的文艺复兴时期，已经表现出足够的自信。之后的时代里，伽利略和牛顿进一步证明了行星运动的规律。人们由此发现，原来整个错综复杂、扑朔迷离的自然界，不过是一个按某种法则运转的巨大的机械装置，而其中并没有上帝的地盘。
What amazed me the most about the new Atlantic island were those godlike people who mastered the principles of everything. They did not have to worry about natural calamities and were not afraid of going against God's will. In fact, their knowledge could replace God, and science could turn a commoner into the master of the natural world. It is truly incredible that such a place exists in this world, a place called the New Atlantic Island, a place like paradise. Amazingly, such a place is real, and people can actually get there.
这里是一座位于英格兰北部兰开夏郡的建于19世纪维多利亚时期的棉纺织工厂，也是至今留存下来依然可以运转的以蒸汽机为动力的棉纺织工厂。1769年，英国人瓦特在原有蒸汽机的基础上，经过技术改良，生产出真正意义上的工业蒸汽机。在此之前，英国工业生产动力主要依靠的是水利和森林。这样的动力缺陷十分明显，受地点、季节、气候、运输、劳力数量等多种条件的限制。生产的发展对一种不受自然条件制约的万能动力机表示出了巨大的渴望。蒸汽机使得人类第一次将如此巨大的能量掌握在了自己手中。只要有煤做燃料，就可以开动蒸汽机。迟缓的工厂手工业进程瞬间转变成了生产的狂飙，人类的科学幻想开始迅速转换成现实。
It's increasingly steam-powered technology that's being applied to factories, and because it's coal-powered rather than or steam-powered rather than water-powered, it's possible to concentrate those in the cities, and that's when you get this enormous urbanization.
I was dumbfounded, standing in front of those machines. In order to make a living, I had to take the job of a mechanic at the newly opened textile mill, where the machines are running on their own at a high speed without anybody operating them. It seemed as if they were possessed. This was exactly like the description of Solomon Palace. The spectacular sight was indelibly etched in my memory. The owner of the mill was a smart-looking, middle-aged man. His name was Richard Arkwright. Then he introduced the steam engine technology into textile production. Because of his achievements, he won commendation from the king and became Sir Richard. I asked Sir Richard whether he had visited the new Atlantic island and obtained new scientific knowledge. "Well, if you don't get smarter, then you will get poorer," he replied with a mysterious smile.
And so Arkwright is seen really as the father of the factory age, rather than being a great inventor. He's a great businessman, he's a great entrepreneur, he made a lot of money, he died a very wealthy man in 1792, with the equivalent now in monetary terms of £20 million or more. He lived in a very nice house. He was quite caring towards his workforce, which a lot of the early entrepreneurs were. But at the end of the day, if he wasn't making money from it, he wouldn't have been in the business.
改良后的工业蒸汽机最先只是在煤矿和棉纺织行业里得到了运用，效率的提高大大超出了人们的预期。这时，已经开始有人对蒸汽技术的真正力量做出热情的想象。当时的诗人用这样的诗句歌颂了这种蒸汽动力：你的武器，解放了的蒸汽，必将拖拽缓慢的驳船和飞快的车辆，或驱动空中飞驰的战车，高傲地让坊间随风飘扬，战斗的鼓声让平民目瞪口呆，军队也畏缩在云层阴影的下方。
I was standing on board the East Indian Company's ocean liner, heading towards South America, enjoying the sea breeze with excitement, daydreaming about an encounter with the legendary new Atlantic island. The journey was probably the most willful thing I did during my young years. I undertook this journey when I was about to complete my apprenticeship. I procured this opportunity of accompanying the ocean liner's crew via the help of the contracted merchant who would purchase the textile mill's products. I'd always been preoccupied with the dream of seeing the magical kingdom depicted in that little book. If I could bring the advanced technology from the new Atlantic island to England, then I would be like Sir Richard Arkwright and become a big mill owner myself.
"就在1791年，阿克莱特在德比郡工厂里的一个学徒，一个叫塞缪尔·斯莱特的21岁年轻人，就装扮成农场雇工，悄悄逃往了美国。在罗德岛上，塞缪尔凭着记忆复制出了阿克莱特织机，按照阿克莱特的工厂形式，建立了美国第一间新式的棉纺织工厂。谁也想不到，先进的技术就像一支火柴，点燃了整个北美大陆。美国就是从此走上了它的工业革命旅程。而这个阿克莱特的学徒，竟被之后的美国人称为了美国机器制造业之父和美国工业革命奠基者。
Everybody on the ship thought that my childish dream was too far-fetched. Nobody had been to that island, and nobody had ever heard of such a place. My journey ended in Mumbai, and I was left with doubt and disappointment. But I did get to see the colourful scenes of India and continental South America. What I saw and heard along the way convinced me that without knowledge and technology, the poor continental regions could only produce and supply England with raw materials and serve as the market for consuming the goods from England.
These new jobs were in using the steam engine, where the steam engine was in a sense providing every worker with many extra arms to do their work, and of course that meant that the prices of their commodities were impossibly low for any competition. Even the poorest Indian workers in India were finding they could not make and sell cotton products in India cheaper than the things being shipped from Manchester onto their market. So this was having obviously colossal global impact.
In 1795, I returned to England and my hometown in Manchester. However, as I got closer to Manchester, I realized that the idyllic little town in the countryside in the olden days had been completely transformed.
作为英国的第二大城市，曼彻斯特在英国工业化的进程中占有绝对重要的位置。今天眼中的曼城虽然已辉煌不再，但是在18世纪末到19世纪中这一段时间里，这里是英国绝对的工业中心。
Because Manchester is the first industrial town, effectively in the world, you begin to get a lot of people realising what was going on in Manchester and wanting to visit it, and that included social commentators, literary figures, politicians, all sorts of people like that. So there's a long list, and these were international visitors as well as just people from this country. So it really was a place that everyone wanted to see.
Recommended by a friend of the director of the East Indian Company, I became the manager of a medium-sized textile mill in Manchester. Based on my thorough knowledge of steam engine-driven looms, I redesigned the management rules and regulations for the mill, which deeply impressed the owner of the mill. In 6 months, the mill's profit increased by almost 50%. What made me even happier was that I was on my way to realizing my dream. When the mill's owner got very elderly, I plucked up enough courage to purchase the mill with money I borrowed through a merchant. Thus, I became the owner of the mill with the most advanced machines. Thus, I finally became the true master of my own destiny.
曼彻斯特的老工业区，在现在看来似乎显得安静空旷。但如果时间倒退200年，我们将能看到一幅壮观的工业景象。根据一项官方报告，19世纪40年代的曼彻斯特，产业工人的人数占到全城人口的85%，而全城拥有将近500个倾泻浓烟的烟囱。
By about 1803, Manchester had just over 50 mills, so it was expanding quite rapidly between 1781 and 1803. And by the peak of the industry in Manchester in about 1850, there were just over 100 mills in the town. So you can imagine each of those would have its own steam engine. Sometimes the bigger mills would have more than one steam engine. They'd each have a chimney for each engine, so there would be a lot of smoke.
在小说《艰难时事》中，查尔斯·狄更斯按照曼彻斯特的样子描述了他想象中的焦煤城。这是一个充满着机器和高耸的烟囱的城市。城市之外，永远笼罩着无尽的恶毒的烟灰，永不会开散。还有那么多像毒瘤一样的建筑物，满墙的窗户内整天响着咔嗒咔嗒震动的声音。蒸汽发动机的活塞单调地上下运动着，就像一头患了忧郁症而发狂的大象的脑袋。
I never found my parents, and the emotions of yearning to see them became unbearably stronger night after night, until I met Alice. Alice was the daughter of a clockmaker. In every corner of my mill, one could see a clock made by Alice's father. They helped me monitor the productivity of my mill second by second. 2 years after we were married, Alice gave birth to our lovely daughter, Jane. Before having our daughter, Alice and I moved out of the dirty and dark city into the garden-like suburb where many members of the nobility were residing. In the fall that year, I would stand in the loft of my house to look into the distant city of Manchester. I could see the tall and newly refurbished chimney of my mill, although it was hard to discern the top of the chimney because of the smog. It looked grand and mystical. It was probably the tallest chimney in the whole city, a thought that filled me with pride.
为了尽可能保证曼彻斯特的环境不受更多的影响，工厂主们解决的方法就是尽可能的加高烟囱，这样大量燃烧的石煤才能在浩瀚的空气海洋里消失得无影无踪，而不是被缠绕在城市的建筑之中。在很长一段时间里，高耸的烟囱都被看作工厂主雄厚财力的视觉标志。
We can see from contemporary paintings of Manchester in the early 19th century these bristling smokestacks producing lots of smoke. Smoke was, of course, considered to be a good thing. It wasn't considered to be a health hazard. It was considered to symbolize prosperity and money making, and people thought that this was something to be encouraged.
在后来的时间里，因为酸雨的频繁降临，人们才逐渐认识到，由高大烟囱排放出去的二氧化硫，并不能消失殆尽，而另一种叫做二氧化碳的气体所带来的影响，也直到100多年之后，才造成了世界范围内的恐慌和焦虑。